Paper X's hyper-aggressive playstyle, creative playmaking, and flexibility to swap between comps on the fly has been giving teams problems for years. It's why they have found so much success in Pacific and in internationals and become one of the strongest teams of all time. But what if I told you that beating them is very simple? As I was watching Masters Santiago, I kept seeing the same pattern happening in games where Paper X was playing. They would start out by losing the pistol or falling behind in a map, and then they would win a Thrifty round, and suddenly the entire game would flip on its head. And ultimately, that's what I'm going to focus this video on, because the key to PaperX's playstyle is momentum. That one word basically defines everything that PaperX does.
I just want us to play our tempo. Don't let them force us out of our tempo. Don't let them force us to play their game. That's like the main way that they beat teams is they speed up teams. They force teams to play their game.
One of the things that I've always known about Paper X, and one of the reasons why they're so difficult to play against, is that they have what I like to call the Paper X rounds. And these rounds tend to be on their lower or sort of broken buys, where maybe they have a rifle or two, or just a bunch of sheriffs and a Bucky, or some sort of like weird kind of weaker combination of weapons where they should be at a disadvantage. But because of how Paper X plays these rounds, and because all of their players are super dangerous with whatever weapon they have, they always end up squeaking out these rounds. And the thing that I've been noticing this year, and sort of a pattern that's emerged, is that they always seem to be winning these rounds at the most critical time. And we can see that at the very first map that Paper X plays at Masters Santiago. Against G2, they start off on split by losing pistol, losing their subsequent eco round, and then on their first gun round of the tournament, they get bonused. So this is a terrible start to their tournament, and G2 is definitely at risk of running away with this map. Except Paper X comes into round number 4 with a broken weak buy, and then they do what they do best. So you can see Paper X has 3 sheriffs, all on players who are absolutely deadly with the one taps. And then Jing has a Spectre, and this is something that Paper X loves to do. They like to inject like one sort of chaos weapon into their eco rounds that makes them just a little bit extra dangerous. And let's take a look at how G2 handles the situation and how Paper X plays it, because this is really where I think the difference lies in beating Paper X. You can see based on G2's positioning, they have one player kind of on the flank hold position, split off from everybody else. They've got a Waylay here who is actually kind of in an awkward position because there's actually a Viper orb here that's going to force him to either swing further into the site or play in garage behind the smoke. And then there's also a smoke placed here by Paper X that's allowing them to potentially enter with an Omen teleport and blocks quite a bit of vision towards the players that are going to be flooding out of heaven. Now, in addition to this, G2 has decent positions, but I wouldn't say these are ideal against how Paper X is going to play this. Giacomo is close, and he's kind of isolated because both of these players in backside will have to swing out into the open to trade him, and he doesn't have any stalling utility. There's no stun left, so he can't actually do much other than just hit a bunch of shots and hope for the best. And it's these little mistakes that are what Paper X punishes the best. So you can see they flash out and they trade out Giacomo, who doesn't have a ton of support. Now, we can also see that the Waylay is stuck behind this Viper orb, and also, like I said, doesn't have a great line to shoot the players flooding out of heaven. And Paper X is all coming out and coming into rafters. So they've effectively split the site in half, and they're only taking the fight onto the players that are in backside. So basically, G2 has 2 players that are unable to contribute to this fight at all, and Paper X is doing this as 5. They're all flooding in together and focusing their fire onto sectioned off players that's allowing them to win these fights. And so when the Viper finally does get to this fight, it's too late. There's 3 players against 1. They have a gun upgrade as well, and it's just an impossible situation. So by splitting up their players, G2 put themselves in a situation where Paper X could steamroll the site with numbers and some good utility. And the effects of this round are immediate. Not only are the vibes up for Paper X, but so is their ult economy and their gun economy, and they ride that momentum to a dominant first half. But that's not the end of the story on this map, because in the second half, G2 actually thrifties Paper X after losing pistol and goes on a big run of rounds. So they look like they have all the momentum to carry this map to its conclusion. But then we come to another Paper X round, and you can see this is a little bit more of a hefty buy, but it's not a full buy by any means. Everybody has half armors. They've got a Stinger, a couple of Sheriffs, and a couple of Guardians, as well as a Yoru ultimate. And let's take a look at how both teams handle this round. So Paper X is going to start the round doing a very similar thing that they do on all of their ecos, which is to group up heavily with a bunch of their players and look for some sort of aggressive play. And at the same time, they've got sort of a secondary play, a lurk happening that is going to try to play off of the chaos and the attention brought by the core of their players. Now, G2 has done one thing well, which is that they've taken B main early. So they have some advanced information, but what they're doing poorly in this round, in my opinion, is that they've given up the entire rest of the map. Their mid player is playing extremely passive, so he has no information about what's happening in mid. And then their A players are also playing extremely passive and not really in good positions to fight. So this is giving PaperX a huge amount of space and allowing them to get to a point where they can potentially burst onto the site. And if you're letting PaperX burst into the site with numbers, there's a very good chance that even if you have multiple people here, it's not going to go well because they will just util dump you and all stream in together. And so that's exactly what we're going to see. Neon doesn't really have a chance to react, gets immediately steamrolled, and Valen is fairly fortunate here. It's a nice play, good positioning. He is able to get 3 with some nice shots, but at the same time, that super early Omen lurk is activated. And the round, while it is numbers advantage for G2, thanks to a nice trade from Trent onto the rafters there, this is more dangerous than it ever should have been. And the thing about being in a situation like this is, yes, there still are numbers advantage for G2, but the pressure is on them. PaperX knows that they're not really supposed to win this round, and G2 knows that they're really not supposed to lose this. So they're going to make some questionable decisions. And Devi is able to react, hits an amazing shot, and you can just see the fear in how Trent plays the situation. He does a little bit of a jiggle and then kind of slow walks into Devi's crosshair. So obviously incredible shots from PaperX, slight mistakes from G2. And overall, I think the macro decisions that they made in this round were what really cost them. And if you start looking at the games that PaperX played at Masters Santiago, you'll see these types of disadvantaged rounds leading to victories popping up all over the place, whether it's converting a bonus in the second half to snowball the game, winning a Thrifty to chip out a few more rounds on one half where they might have been losing heavily otherwise, or potentially flipping the entire script and coming back in a situation where they might be falling really far behind in a series. And now I want to look at Nongshim, who obviously went on to win Masters Santiago. And I think a huge part of that is that they never gave PaperX the momentum that PaperX needed. You can see on Corrode on the first map, there was actually an exchange of momentum where PaperX wins the pistol, Nongshim thrifties them, then PaperX thrifties them back. And this was the only close map that was played in the grand finals. If you look at Split, it was pistol, anti-eco bonus for Nongshim on both halves, and on Abyss, it was a pretty similar story where they went pistol, anti-eco, lost the first gun round, and then ran away with that half. And then on the second half, after PaperX won the pistol, Nongshim immediately thrifted them to close out the game. So I wanted to take a look at how Nongshim played a couple of these rounds just to contrast it to what we just watched with G2. Now, this is a great example of what Nongshim did so well against PaperX that a lot of other teams struggled to pull off. They have gotten a big lead here by winning the bonus on Split, and PaperX is now on their PaperX round, right? They have 3 sheriffs. They've just called a timeout and they're ready to do some sort of aggressive play to try and flip the map and the momentum back in their favor. And watch how Nongshim handles this. First of all, just look at their setup. They don't have anybody isolated. Yes, they do have a Viper in the back of A, but there's 2 players ready to fight for ramps. They have invested in an Outlaw, and the Outlaw is being supported here in middle. And they've actually fully given up on B, at least so far, because they want to keep their players grouped together and ready to fight together. The fighting together is a huge thing that I want to focus on here. So right at the beginning of the round, PaperX groups in middle. They're trying to create some pressure towards A to distract from what they're doing here in middle, and Francis gets chased off the angle. Now look at this. So he gives up the angle, it takes a little bit of chip damage, and PaperX is going to try to stream forward and take this space. But look at these rotations. Immediately, Omen and Neon are coming through vents, and Xros is over here holding the crossfire, and Yoru is running to try and rejoin this fight as quickly as possible.
Opens up a bit of space, but look at Nongshim already corralling back in from both sides.
So one Paper X does try to make this aggressive play, Nongshim is ready to react. And yes, it is a little aggressive. They do get traded out here a bit, but the most important thing is that they are taking this fight with 4 players, and the Viper is even starting to rotate over as well. So they are bringing numbers to this fight and trying to take advantage of the fact that they have a weapons and utility advantage without giving up that numbers advantage that oftentimes Paper X likes to abuse in these eco rounds. So you can see the trades come through and Nongshim shuts down the round. So here's the next eco round from Paper X, and this one is even more dangerous because of the ults that are in play. You can see that they've gone for a Bucky, a Stinger, a Sheriff, a Bandit, and it's definitely not a great buy, but these are the types of rounds that they win all the time. Watch how Nongshim plays this. They have a Judge in play, which is obviously a great tool against eco rounds. They, of course, have their trusty Outlaw, and I want you to kind of watch how they position their players as this round kicks off. Of course, Paper X goes for an aggressive early take of space. Danby reroutes to get to the choke point with his Judge. And then as soon as Paper X tries to burst through with their Eye and the Yoru teleport, watch how Nongshim responds. Danby's in a perfect position to shut down the flood through afterwards. They put up the orb or the Viper utility, they stun, and they focus on the player who's through. They don't try to take a 1v4 in the front of the site. Danby is just here to delay. At the same time, look at these rotations. They already have 4 people towards A. They're instantly reacting to the noise because they know that Paper X is going to commit with heavy numbers when they're on these eco rounds. And now we're in a situation where there's a numbers advantage, a gun advantage, a util advantage, and a positional advantage for Nongshim. And they're not going to give this up. So Francis, he gets, you know, maybe some bullshit kills through smoke there with the Outlaw, but they quickly collapse on this space and they don't give Paper X any room to sort of turn things into a chaotic, oh, where are these players? They just immediately get a couple of kills, and then they just slam all of their numbers into Paper X's numbers, knowing that they should be able to win that fight with their gun and armor advantage. Okay, now let's look at this round 6 from Abyss, where Paper X comes in with another eco. They've got a Marshal, a Sheriff, couple Bandits, so kind of a classic Paper X buy. It's dangerous because the Marshal there can one-shot people. Obviously, the Bandits and Sheriffs are dangerous at medium to close range. And I want you to watch how Nongshim handles this situation, because this really convinced me that they knew exactly what they were doing against Paper X's ecos, and they were definitely going to win this series. First of all, let's just look at the positioning. We've got Buddy System in middle. We've got Buddy System in A main with Cypher utility to back them up. And then Danby's positioning is also really crucial, because a lot of the times what you'll see teams do on these eco rounds is when they see a group of players, they tend to get too aggressive on the weak side of the map. And that puts them at risk of Paper X maybe having one person lurking or potentially just running back this direction and steamrolling that player who's in too advanced a position. But because of how passively Danby's playing, and he even actually comes over and starts to gamble towards middle because there's no noise immediately at B, it's kind of a similar pattern to what we saw in Split. Nongshim's not afraid to have to play retake against an eco as long as they have numbers and gun advantage. So they're ready to fight as a group. And even if that means that they're fighting as a group on retake, they're going to do that.
So much patience.
Francis, aggressive positioning with the Outlaw, obviously very high value play, and he gets out safely. They avoid getting picked in middle, a little bit dangerous from RB, but you know, he still has the advantage in this position. And then also take a look at Danby. Look how far back he's playing. He's ready for there to be a lurk coming up here, and he's just playing a passive off angle. He's not going to get caught out. Meanwhile, we've got a group over towards A. Obviously, we have all the Cypher utility to back them up, and they are happy to just kind of slowly bleed Paper X out. All this utility has to be used early. Francis sort of challenges again. And because of how they are challenging this one spot with numbers and ready to face and fight Paper X in the choke point instead of letting them just exec onto the site, it really shuts down Paper X's momentum, both into the round and also into the game. And so one of the most important things to remember about Valorant is because this game has multiple economies, whether it's the gun economy, the ult economy, or hell, even the vibes economy, all of those things contribute to the snowball. So if you can stop Paper X from having access to that snowballing mechanic, you can definitely stop their momentum because they really are like a train. Once they get going, good luck stopping them. But that inertia that they have also can mean that it's very hard for them to get moving if you can stop them in their tracks.